England versus France, we've got the teams out. Eddie Jones makes some changes, but will it be enough to beat the powerful French? Hi guys, welcome back. Let's have a look at these teams, starting off with England. Now, I think it's a better team than against Wales, but they're going to have to be really good to beat France. There's 3 changes. All the changes were changes that I had made in my previous selection video that I would have wanted. Possibly hasn't gone as far as I'd have gone, but it's an improvement, I think. France, they've come off a break, if you like. They haven't played for a long time, but they do have some players back, some big players back, namely Intermac, Vakatawa and Camille Chat. So back to this English team. Front row wise, Cowan-Dickie gets his start, so great news for him. Hasn't had a lot of starts for England. Mako and Sinclair are the props. It's the most dynamic front row you could get. It's the most exciting ball-playing front row you could get, probably, from the props. If they can get their set piece right, could be on for a really good show from these guys. So I am optimistic for this front row, for sure. Assuming Mako's now fully fit, Sinclair's into it, Cowan-Dickie's in great form. I think it's the right call. In the second row, Itoje stays. Now, he's had some problems with penalties against Wales. They've had referees into camp, which is what every team does, really, to keep up to date with the laws and the interpretations from the refs, but certainly a reaction to the indiscipline in that Welsh game. Charlie Ewels was actually a guy I had selected for this game. As you know, I'm not sure he's an absolute world beater second row, but he is very big, lumpy, solid, reliable. He's the sort of guy I think maybe you need against the French with their physicality in their second row. Sort of a Joe Launchbury type player, so I think it's the right call with Hill on the bench trying to make an impact. Back row wise, I would have preferred Ben Earl to start, but I do see the balance between Wilson and Curry for sure. But Wilson needs a big game. Curry needs to have he's had a good game, but hasn't had a big game yet. Vunipola was better against Wales. To beat the likes of Aldred and Olivon, though, they're going to have to really have an absolute screamer. So, not sure about the back row, but we'll see. They've definitely got big performances in them. Ben Youngs, now, I had dropped him completely from the squad in my selection, but to be honest, not a lot of pushing from behind from the other scrum halves. Robson's showed glimpses. Mitchell we haven't really seen much of yet, so it kind of makes sense that Young starts even, but still not sure about that, especially when he's up against the amazing Antoine Dupont as a like-and-like comparison. Anyway, George Ford starting at 10 I think is the right call. I'd have liked to see players outside him like Lawrence and Adogwu that he could put through gaps, but he hasn't really got that. He's got the ball players in Farrell and Slade, who didn't play badly against Wales. It's just the fact when you line up those midfields, when you're looking at Fiku and Vakatawa against Farrell and Slade, when you're talking about running threat, power threat, pace, it's not even close. Farrell and Slade's skills and kicking are excellent, but like I said, I just feel like it's lacking. At least Lawrence is on the bench. In the back three, the only change is Max Malin's coming in for a start, which is great. Daly hasn't set the world alight, and when he comes on, all I'm going to be watching for is tackle technique and commitment from him. But Malin's is probably a more natural 15, a little bit more graceful, if you like. As long as he's confident, I believe he can go really well, so I'm really glad he gets a start. On the bench, Jamie George needs to come on and prove a point, especially with Lions selections looming. Ellis Genge needs a game to go his way and really impact it off the bench. Like I said, Ben Earl, very unlucky not to start for me, but a good impact sub. And they haven't gone for the 6-2 split, which I think is the right call because that hasn't really worked for them so far. It means they can get Ollie Lawrence on the bench, so if they need to change up that midfield, they can bring on some firepower to actually make a difference. I really hope he gets some good attacking ball. On to this French team. So a few changes. So his second row, we see a change. We see a Vakatawa come back in. So they've got their most scary midfield. Marchand stays at hooker, who's been amazing. But now they can bring on Camille Chat, the absolute powerhouse. It's a really scary hooker lineup there. with the likes of Olivon and Aldrit in the back row. It's just phenomenal. So many line-out options as well and physicality. Outside Antoine Dupont, Jalabert keeps his spot, which I think is correct on performance because he's been great. I wondered if Intermac would come straight back in, but I think it's the right call. And what a competition between those two for that number 1 French spot. Very similar sort of skill players as well, dangerous runners. And talking of dangerous runners, they've got their most dangerous wingers on the pitch now to start in Penaud and Thomas. There's so much firepower in this backline, it's scary. England are going to have a great game to win this match. I'm hoping for a real good one. France obviously going for that Grand Slam, still going for the Six Nations. England going for pride, going for a big performance. And like I said, players playing for their spots in the team and maybe the Lions as well. So plenty on the line. Let me know what you think of those teams and how you think the game will go. And I will catch you next time.